Next, the secret. One must be a lefty to despise war. I understand. Consequently, what are your thoughts on the matter of demonetizing war? Creating new currency is the essence of war, you know? Just this week, lawmakers in Washington passed a bill that would force us to enter yet another war. Ukraine and Israel will receive $180 billion. Array of 3. Conflict zones. I understand. Where does that money come from then? They reproduce it. Imagine if they were unable to publish it. I see. War was out of the question. Can you print Bitcoin, please? No, I understand. Thus, it is the basic math behind it. Bitcoin is perfect for those who despise conflict. Bitcoin is perfect for eco-conscious people. That can be explained in great detail. Yes, I understand. Interest rates are going up now for a multi-year basis, which is bad news for any vegetarian who wears Birkenstocks. As a result, rates will increase annually. Similar to what happened in the 1970s, inflation will continue to rise annually. Plus, naysayers will insist that it can't possibly go higher. Is there any way it can go higher? It will continue to rise indefinitely. The American economy crashes in this way, it will cause it to fall. A collapse caused by inflation. Max Keiser is sounding the alarm that the U.S. economy is about to collapse. Implosion brought on by inflation, a crucial component. In his most recent interview, Keiser blames the imminent collapse on 4 decades of rapidly increasing money production and inflation. There will be a pause in the music soon enough because the debt load has reached unsustainable heights. Inflation is skyrocketing while salaries are staying steady, according to Keiser, and the middle class is vanishing as a result. Bitcoin, though, is Keiser's solution despite the gloomy forecast. To hear Keiser elaborate on how Bitcoin fixes monetary system problems, diverts capital from wasteful projects, and helps combat climate change, be sure to watch the video all the way to the end. Now, consider this for 40. Bond market has been doing well for you for a while now. Starting in 1982, when interest rates were 16%, 17%, and 18% across the board, including mortgage and 10-year rates, this was because, during Reagan's first years in office, Paul Volcker was the Fed chairman, and the urgency with which they needed to eliminate inflation was paramount. Additionally, before to Greenspan, the head of the Federal Reserve, Paul Volcker aggressively hiked interest rates in an effort to stifle inflation. That was pretty effective, you know? From their all-time high in 1981, which in my opinion was the peak, interest rates have been steadily declining until 2022. So you're describing a 40-year time frame where interest rates continue to decline. Washington politicians have been able to avoid solving problems for the past 40 years because to this practice. Instead, they simply repackage them in bonds, recapitalize them, and then sell the bonds off to the market with a longer maturity date and a lower coupon rate. Just one notable exception: while Clinton was president in the early 1990s, Hillary Clinton was very focused on healthcare. Other than that, though, there was never a point when she was. On top of that, she sought to implement a healthcare system overhaul. Needless to say, that didn't sit well with Wall Street. The bottom line would take a hit. A bond market meltdown was thus orchestrated in 1993. At 93, bonds took a major knock. It was all orchestrated on Wall Street to deter Hillary by instilling fear. It was done to prevent the sale of Hillary bonds. Also, it is reported that Bill Clinton would like to return as the bond market when he dies. In the world, it is unrivaled in its power. That battle was thus won by them. You may recall that during the financial crisis of 2008, they approached Congress in an effort to secure a bailout package worth $1 trillion. When asked for more than a one-pager, Congress first demanded more. What are you intending to do with this $800,900 trillion? Please elaborate. Consequently, they returned to Goldman Sachs. Those individuals returned to their workplaces. The stock market crashed as a result. The dials in marketplaces can be configured to your liking. That needs its own program. However, a crash is easily avoidable. They managed to crash it. The following day, Congress finally gave in. All right, here's your cash, they said. Well, at least that's one thing I know about the market. And thus returning to the bond market. For 4 decades, the world market continued to purchase U.S. bonds, which led some on the political left to believe incorrectly in their minds that additional money could be printed at will. In 2022, though, everything altered. Additionally, the war between Russia and Ukraine had a significant impact on the worldwide market. Interest rates will rise for at least a few more years as a result of what is being described as a prolonged secular bad market in bonds. As a result, rates will increase annually. Similar to what happened in the 1970s, inflation will continue to rise annually. People will often ask if it gets any higher. There must be a limit, doesn't there? It will continue to rise in price. The American economy crashes in this way. As long as prices, insurance premiums, and healthcare expenses keep rising, it will eventually collapse due to inflation. You know the kind of videos I'm talking about, the ones where individuals claim to make X amount of dollars a month, but their rent is such and such that they can't afford to live. We touched on this topic last time. Therefore, this is an individual with a bachelor's or master's degree. The working class, aren't they poor people who work? Consequently, a growing number of people from that demographic will end up among the homeless and extremely destitute. With a neo-feudal aristocracy that harkens back to feudalism, and a couple thousand essentially monarchical people sitting on hundreds of billions of dollars while the rest of us live hand to mouth, there is no reason to put a stop to this. Making ends meet won't involve farming, rather, it will involve clicking. This is basically going to be the next hour where you use your provision. Apple device to click on adverts in order to buy a protein supplement so you can survive. If this pattern keeps up, Graham taking the 1981 bond market and running it through the inflation machine with a couple of Fed chairmen, and then looping back to Hillary Clinton would get you an Apple protein pill and a Tesla to the moon. Bitcoin is a solution for individuals who believe in climate change, for example, global warming. In terms of environmental impact, it is unparalleled. Over time, it becomes more verdant. To mine, it employs stranded energy. Next, the secret: one must be a lefty to despise war. I understand. Consequently, what are your thoughts on the matter of demonetizing war? Wars are a means to an end, the creation of new money. Wars are our default mode. In Washington, a law is being passed this week, $140 billion. Israel and Ukraine. The three front lines, I understand. Where does that money come from then? They reproduce it. Imagine if they were unable to publish it. Oh, battle was out of the question. Can you print Bitcoin, please? No, I understand. Thus, it is the basic math behind it. Bitcoin is perfect for those who despise conflict. Bitcoin is perfect for eco-conscious people. If you know a vegetarian who wears Birkenstocks, we can give them a detailed explanation, yes. And when you mine Bitcoin, you're defunding fiat money after all. There are over $400 trillion worth of equities, bonds, cash, and other financial goods that are based on fiat money. The value of Earth is approximately $400 trillion. That concludes the Bitcoin addressable market. Thus, it has the potential to demonetize fiat currency. Gold and silver can be demonetized. Demonetization of the bond market is possible. The property market could become demonetized. A demonetization of the fossil fuel sector may result. It has the potential to. Yes, it will have far-reaching effects on the energy sector. You can see that real estate markets are not performing well in many parts of the globe. Lots of issues pop out at you. People aren't putting their money into real estate as much as they once did, and I believe that's partly because of Bitcoin, which is better than anything else. Compared to everything else, it will be far superior. At the very least, Bitcoin has become more accessible to the general public thanks to exchange-traded funds, or ETFs. Concerning those, they experience some issues. We may discuss it later on, but for now, it's a means to an end. You can convince your broker to let you invest $5,000 or $10,000 in a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund ETF if you have money market and stock investments.